The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests, not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Oh no, of all the people who shouldn't be, guess who mic'd herself, ladies and gentlemen?
Welcome to the Laws of Empowering Entrepreneurs. I am your host, Blanca, and this is my extraordinary co-host, Natan Verkhovsky, the founder of the Essential Academy, who has become family to me. Has been a dream. It's been an honor. I am having such a good time. I'm now an official instructor of the Essential Academy. I've been playing in the platform. I have my own private portal as an instructor. I can network with other instructors in an exclusive and private chat. I get courses. I'm producing my own digital course. Hello. So you've empowered me.
Thank you. That's what we try to do. We pick and choose the wonderful people who are already doing good and see if we can add a little woof and jet fuel to whatever they're already up to.
I'm truly grateful to you for that. You've built a really, really very highly detailed, very complex, very easy to use platform. When I say complex, I mean rich in resources. That's what I mean.
Thank you.
We're also together on our Hyperverse initiative.
Yep.
And I've also been learning a lot of new crypto laws of life that have been quite interesting. So excited to share.
I remember when I was on the last call we had a couple days ago, it is impressive when you can throw a Zoom meeting out there and have 987 people popped on. I was like, woo, that's a nice little worldwide. Wow.
It is. It's a truly international community. And I want you to meet Summer. She's a new friend. She's a V5 in the platform. She's from Thailand. She teaches students every day from Thailand from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Zoom. And to get those courses, some of them, I mean, they're having to sit in a tree to get a better signal. That's how much they want to learn this information. I'm talking people looking to really change their life, but she's also helping entrepreneurs, students. It's a global community, and it's transforming her hometown in Thailand. So
that is a beautiful person, somebody in the non-for-profit space, somebody giving back, somebody who's trying to help others. The people that we're going to be talking to in our world are always going to be either on this side, and hey, I want that shiny red car, or I'm doing it for this reason, and I want to make everyone else get a shiny red car. If I get one down the road, that's fine. I don't need one like that.
So well put. So I think she will be another wonderful guest on our show.
Of course.
She was on Laws of Crypto Life this week.
We're talking about empowering entrepreneurs, then let's empower her by three things. One, knowing that if she can, she should get to the not-for-profit space and get the $10,000 a month in free Google ads.
Agreed. 100%.
She should put on courses because we have the ability, because we're that .org and that educational community, that when people see us and the faculty, they go, oh, wow, legit. When they see the courses, more than 7 dozen, they go, oh, wow, impressive. And then they go, okay, and these are the events and the fundraisers and things you do. Now we understand how all of this works. She would have a chance to say, but these people can't afford that. Natan, they're literally up in a tree. I said, that's fine. They can get the knowledge and education. They don't have to pay for it. But the NGOs, the non-government organizations, the Board of Education that have budgets and will lose their budgets if they don't spend their budgets, need to attach themselves to something legit and proper. And to do that, your friend sounds legit and proper. We could put something together for her and have the people with the money, let them pay for it.
I think that is literally a brilliant idea. And it's another approach to building up.
Empower, man. We got to empower those entrepreneurs.
100%. And the gentleman that's in your academy that specializes in this, do you want to mention his name?
Ooh, I've got a few, but John Hardy is an amazing guy, and he's unique in his own right. both because of his own background. For decades, he comes from a pastoral background. So you're looking at someone who is a pastor and speaks to a congregation and still gives sermons on Sundays. And in his background, it's a mix between standing on this side of the people, the pulpit, or on the other side. And so for decades, he's been working with various companies as that both business coach to business, like a coach to coach, but at the same time in the not-for-profit community,
Okay.
specifically working on coaching churches and their unique structure within on how to communicate better and more effectively and efficiently within. Because sometimes some of those larger congregations, there's dozens or hundreds of people on the back end making that work. And for them to have that same effectiveness and efficiency as you would in a normal company is just correct. So coming back into that multi-sided, being able to come in, coaching for churches, small business services, coaching for schools, coaching for businesses, coaching for executives, John will help find clarity, focus, accountability, and he does it by tackling three major problems, the three Ds he calls them. These are what leaders face. They face drift, distraction, and discouragement. So John comes in to help you with all the above.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's welcome John Hardy to our stage on Laws of Empowerment. How are you today, John?
I'm really well. This is great to be here, and so for me, it's kind of the end of my day, but that's all right. So it's just great to be with you guys and sharing this story about laws of life that actually are quite transformational.
Thank you. So, Natan, how did you and John become friends? I always love to know the backstory.
My world is a blessing because we're a private educational community. So it's invitation only by referral only. Or I met you at a networking event, fell in love with you, and said, come on over to my private community. I think you'll have a wonderful place to play here.
Very cool.
So
That's
and now, John and I met at a networking event, and it was great. We right away automatically hit it off. John was not my first Australian instructor. I think he was around my second or third.
I think so. Yes. Yeah.
So, John, tell us about Peak Consultancy at the highest, at the mountaintop. What is your mission?
Well, my motto actually is I'm the mountain, see the view. That's and my name. I've travelled quite a bit to Indonesia, so my name Hardy in Indonesian actually means mountain. So and mountains in the Bible also are really quite profound and significant. In what happens on mountains is quite significant. So that's what I really want to do is help people find that opportunity and climb the mountain. So, and I've been doing this now for over 20 years in working with all sorts of industries and businesses, particularly like Natan has actually told quite some of my story, the things that I do on a regular basis in doing that. So like tomorrow morning, I'll be working with a managing director of an international crane business, which deals with both putting new cranes in, servicing them, rebuilding them, maintaining them right across Australia and Papua New Guinea, and working with him on transforming his thinking from micro management to macro management, because he's the MD. But like many businesses and key leaders, they are very clever and can do everything. But actually, that's a hindrance to effective leadership in trying to do everything. And it's just great to hear he's just put a CFO on to help him get the cash flow budget in place. He's just put a young guy on to help with admin support. He's bringing in a key guy from South Africa and their family. He's bringing a family over from Brazil, and the guy from Brazil, Ed, is really, really clever. He can do almost anything, fix almost anything.
That's incredible.
Electronic, hydraulic. And so I get to play in those kinds of spaces with key leaders and helping them really get a handle on what it is for them to bring the change that they need.
That's amazing. Well, we are live with John Hardy on the laws of empowering entrepreneurs, and we are going to get much deeper into this conversation. Before we do, let's give a shout out to our diamond sponsor, attorney Tim Marecki, your personal injury attorney, putting community first, who's been our sponsor for 3 years. Let's take a quick look. Let's get into some nitty gritty here. All right, so you're coaching some of the top businesses in the world. So, let's sort of do this, as they say, popcorn style. Like, let's get to the meat of the matter. What's the number one challenge that business owners are having today?
Well, apart from COVID, money. Money is always the biggest fallover point for businesses because they get the money wrong. I'm working with a couple of business owners that are running daycare centres. That's what we call them in Australia, where children get looked after during the day while mum and dad work, and they're getting the money right has been really, really important for them. And they've just had a valuation on their business, and they were really surprised at because they've got the money right, the business is valuable, and people want to buy those businesses.
That's a very broad term. Does the money right mean making the right amount of money? Does it mean having the right mindset? What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Blanca. It really is about knowing your numbers. And so in Australia, our financial year is from July to June. And oftentimes the businesses then send their books to the accountant, and that's 3 or 4 months later in the following financial year, they get a report, and it's all too late. And so many businesses do that, and they can't capture the dynamic of what's going on day by day, week by week, month by month. And so by actually bringing really good accountability into their room, you can do like one of my motels, put a good bookkeeper in, got the books in the right place, and the business has just grown in value and grown in turnover because they now understand their money, and they understand what it means, people in bed, sleeping, getting the right numbers, and everybody then becomes happy because the primary 3 P's that need to be done is prospects, process, and people. And then you will then be able to handle your numbers well by actually good budgeting, good cash flow, good analysis, good reporting. And of course, technology today is, in Australia, we have really good online platforms like Xero and MyOb and a few other resources like that. And so the dashboards are on your screen. And the idea is to get good dashboard reporting. You can see what's going on in the business moment by moment, week by week. And that's transformational. So money. Mm-hmm.
So you're talking that we should be looking at our numbers on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis?
Depends on how much turnover is taking place in activity. But generally, most businesses need to be across their numbers every week. And so I tell them, be across your numbers every week, review your numbers every month, and sit down and strategize your numbers every quarter. And that way you...
Mm-hmm.
Sorry?
No, that makes sense. I'm just so excited. The questions just keep arriving. So the next question is, what about the smaller entrepreneur that's still building,
Yes.
that's having trouble getting leads, that doesn't have, is it your mid-level or a high-level company, but the smaller entrepreneur? Are you helping them build the process so that they can make more money? Because the way I've always looked at it is, in my own experience, I don't even look at the numbers until the flow starts to happen. When do the numbers start to matter? Do you give a business 6 months, a year? Let's face it, it's not you know what I mean?
You're right. It doesn't matter
Absolutely.
how you can't put a timeline on it if the numbers aren't flowing in 6 months.
Yeah.
It's got to be money based.
Oh, yeah. So initially, if you're looking at a small startup business, their fundamental is clients, prospects. That's their number one strategy they need to get in place, and really looking after those clients. But the next thing they need to do is engage a bookkeeper. A lot of guys in Australia, their wives do it for them. So we have a very big they do. And my wife does my books, and she's brilliant at it. She manages my budget. She does all of that, and she's really good. And so,
under threat of divorce, my wife stopped doing my book and said,
Yes.
"We've been together 29 years. You want to stop that before we hit 30? Don't ask
Yeah,
me to help
yeah.
anymore." And it gets complicated. We have a holding company that takes
Yes.
care of a not-for-profit that then has a wholly owned subsidiary that is a for-profit.
Yes.
It's interesting, and it gets to play in a different way so that we can protect our people, encourage our people, support our people.
Yep.
It's crazy, Blanca. Some of our instructors, they're people that are going through a horrible divorce and their wife gets half of their things. So they can't use their real name. They can't be coming on here. They can't, make millions of dollars because they can't spend it or keep it. and so there's,
When I hear that block, when someone tells me I can't make money because my spouse will get some of it, I'm just, that's one of the worst blocks. I'll tell you what I say to them, is resolve that block, because to have a block to stop you from being from reaching your top levels of prosperity, that's the saddest. That's sad.
Yeah.
But you're right. Prospects, clients. Now, Natan, how did it work with you? I mean, you've got an amazing personality. I'm sure your charisma has helped you prospect. Is that a fair statement?
Yes. But to speak to what John said, I know my numbers. If you said, Natan, tell me about Essential Academy right now. Snapshot? I checked it this morning. There's 374 of us. 77 of them are instructors. The other 300 are students. They spend an average of 14 minutes on the Learning Academy. We convert 1 in 3, 33.74%. 68 courses, 21 categories, and 18 sales in the last 21 days. So if you don't have that ability to go, where's your next dollar coming from? How much is it worth?
Yep,
and
that's right.
Is
Absolutely.
That you go, I got sick this week, knock on wood, heaven forbid I got COVID. My daughter and my wife had COVID. For the last 2 weeks, they got knocked out. They just now are starting to come back to it. And meanwhile, I'm like, nope, Russian, strong like bulls. So maybe it was the extra brandy and vodka I was drinking, but either way, I didn't get it. You know what I mean? And so people are bugging and saying, well, maybe you're asymptomatic. And I'm like, well, if I was, then I got a strong enough immunity that it didn't bother me. And if I'm not, then I got a strong enough immunity that I can sleep next to somebody who does. And I'm okay. But you can't do that if you don't know. The same in business.
And what Natan has got, he's got a dashboard that shows him that. But behind that dashboard is detail. That's the power of having your numbers right. Create a dashboard so you can run those numbers off really well. And so I would be encouraging our young entrepreneurs, the second most important appointment is your bookkeeper. Get a good bookkeeper in place, a bookkeeper. My accent is slightly English, Blanca. I come from Manchester in northern England.
Way to spot that.
There's a few twangs in there. And so that's the second thing I would recommend, is doing that, because a good bookkeeper is transformational, because they will do all the hard work, process all the gear for you, and generate that report on a weekly or a monthly basis. And you will know your numbers, and it frees your time. And in Australia, the average bookkeeper costs about $65 an hour. And so if you're hiring yourself out $180 an hour, where would you want to spend your money? On you earning money or doing books? So you earning money is
one new client to pay for your damn bookkeeper. Let's go.
Right. And I've done
if you can't
that
get a client, then don't worry about your bookkeeper.
I've done that numbers of times with my clients, and they love it. The fact I've got this time and I can go and grow my business. Yeah.
Without a doubt. What is your favorite app for bookkeeping?
Right now, Xero in Australia, so that's Zero, comes out of New Zealand, and it's just blitz Australia. It's everywhere. Everybody loves it. Everybody uses it. It really is a very high quality product. And it's an online tool. So it's on your screen, it's on your phone, it's on your pad. really, and it's very easy to learn. No, Xero.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Zero. So,
So
not yes. That's the key for you.
it sounds like money is really your number one law of empowering entrepreneurs and your
Yes.
financial affairs. And this applies to life too. It's so interesting because, in your marriage, having your documents in order, having your probate documents, having your emergency plan in order, having your will in order. What happens if Facebook and social media went down? Do you have the phone numbers of your friends? Do you have their emails? Are you prepared in life and in business? So all these principles are bringing that out for me, John. So when you get entrepreneurial burnout, so they know their numbers, the numbers aren't working the way they want, the prospects aren't coming in, how are you able to help those business owners improve so that they can achieve their vision?
I use a colleague gave me a 3R principle called reality, results, roadblocks. And so by simple investigation of conversation with my clients, as I talk to them and listen to them and pull information out of them, I know where they want to be, results. I know where they currently are, reality. But in that conversation, we actually discover the roadblocks that are in the way. And sometimes it's a staff person. Sometimes it's not getting the kind of prospects that they want. And sometimes it's just themselves learning how to, like my guy I was telling you about earlier, my managing director, changing from micro leadership to macro leadership, and really him getting out there and about. So last week he was what we call over east. So I'm on the West Coast. He went on the East Coast, talked to key people about opportunities for him and his business. And that is all about bringing new business into his world. And so that's a really powerful way that I do and work with my clients on those 3 R's. It's really cool to pull the information out.
Let me ask you, John, are you, because going from micro to macro, and it's literally small-minded thinking compared to big picture thinking. And in that capacity, I remember one great piece of business advice that I got many years ago. I don't remember from who. And it was that in a new conversation with a new person, a prospect, so to speak, before you can figure out whether they're going to be a purchaser or a partner or a promoter, keep it at a 60,000-foot overview as long as you can. Do not run down a rabbit hole. Do not drill down into the details and get lost into the weeds immediately, because the second you do, you committed. And you're so busy committing to that one path of action that you can take right now. Congrats. You missed out on there could potentially be bigger, better, broader, easier paths that are more lucrative and. So
Yes,
in that
correct.
capacity, that's beautiful. I really appreciated that. Thank you, John.
Yes, absolutely. Because it's like my mum used to say, don't put all your eggs in one basket, you know?
Blanca,
Because
do you have a
drop the
problem with
basket.
somebody who's a man of the cloth and a man of God who speaks about money and tells you that's the number one thing that you need right now? That's what's going to take the difference between you going and getting a job and or being unemployed and homeless, or you owning your destiny. Like, are you catching that it's all part of that? It's money's not an evil. It's not a bad thing. It's a tool. It's a blessing. You can't be a broke philanthropist, right? So
100%. You know what? It seems like it is John's number one law of being empowered as an entrepreneur. And it's sort of like the human body. You need to know what your blood pressure is. You need to know what your temperature is. You don't know the basic facts about your human body, you're not going to live very long. So the same thing with the business. You got to know your metrics. So one of the ways that we have incorporated our marketing strategy is we do have a network of webcasts. We have our new Roku channel, and this show is now on the Roku channel and has been since Natan started. And so it's also broadcast to 137 stations, brought to us by Top 4 TV. If you would like to have your own show to elevate your business, this is a great way to become a market expert. So let's take a quick celebratory message of our new Roku channel. subscribe to the Laws of Life Roku channel. Be sure to follow us on social media. Share this show with your friends. Elevate John. Elevate Natan. The show's also designed to help us network and connect with one another and build relationships. So, John, what is the best way for someone to connect with you and find out more?
So I'm on LinkedIn, so they can search for my name, John Hardy, at Peak Consultancy, and they will find me there at LinkedIn. I also have a website. Again, it's type in Peak Consultancy. Now in Australia, it's .com.au. We're just transitioning to peakconsultancy.au. We don't need .com anymore in Australia, so that's a whole new world for us Aussies. We're getting our own.
Oh, that's cool. So that's not by choice. That's like you guys have no choice. Wow.
That's right.
I wonder.
So you can find me there. I'm on Facebook. Again, my name. I've been built around myself because it's people get to know me, and then so website, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm on all those channels.
All right, John. So let's because your time is so valuable. We're so honored to have you with us. What are your laws of marketing? What's the key?
Marketing. It really is an interesting space, and you have to be specific. I'm reminding myself about the importance of being specific about who I actually want in my world. So I actually have a podcast launching soon called Rethink Leadership, which I'm doing with a colleague of mine, which will be up, and that is aimed at 35 to 45-year-old leaders. And our goal is to do 10-minute segments on principles of leadership to give them something to think about and practical tools to help them. So they're in that leadership market space. But in my personal business, I want managing directors of companies of 2 million to 20 million. They are really ideal because they've got good dynamics, but they've also got some really good problems. And it really is good getting in there with them, wrestling through those problems and showing them how to be strategic and answering those blockages that are in their way. They are just ideal clients for me, and we have a lot of fun working together.
What's your favorite marketing strategy, or do you get involved with providing advice in the marketing space?
Marketing is probably not the most important strength that I have. I understand it. But my strength in that space is strategy. I know how to help them build strategies. So if I was to say one of my other laws is, for me, is key in getting strategy, and I have this really cool your strategic hour where I have this very simple process of getting them away from distractions, getting them to do very aesthetic engagement, like with a paper and pen, get outside of the office and go and sit and think about one thing and one thing only. So like, for instance, how do I deal with a difficult staff member? Spending time thinking through, are they valuable? I need to train them. Do I want to keep them? What do I need to do? Or I need a growth area. Just thinking about that one area. And then what I encourage them to be aware of is to write everything down that they think of, because they need to get through white noise, which is the information that's going off in their heads, to clear that away so they can then come back to the one main area of thinking and really target that and spend 1 hour being strategic. And I get them to do that, and they tell me it's one of the best things they learn in putting strategy into their world of taking time to stop and to think. And that's great fun when they actually do that. So for me, that's a very important law in working with my clients that I do, is being very strategic. And so I understand marketing. It's not my best strength, but I understand how to do it because I've been doing this for 20 years. So you've got to be able to market yourself to actually have clients and have a business for that long.
Well, that absolutely. And remember, the Laws of Life is also a full service marketing agency. So if you ever need any help, perhaps we can collaborate. And, it really is about the strategy and about customized solutions. One of the biggest things I do see, though, in the entrepreneurs that I work with and service is truly a lack of clarity.
Yes, it is.
They're a little foggy and on their vision.
Yes.
What is your law of creating concise and clear visions?
That's a really good question. So my strategy is listening to your own story as you tell people. So when I discovered mine, it was I understood the power of mountains, and it was really important to me. So my initial thing, I wanted to do this thing in the church world, but they don't pay quite enough. So I needed to do both the church and the business. And so I changed my name from Mountain Ministries, which is kind of a very churchy name, to Peak Consultancy. So very business name. People understood what it was about because I wanted people to understand the power of that. And as I thought about that, I realized a saying I came up with, I wanted people to climb a mountain to see view, because and this is what I found, Blanca, it's the serendipitous moments in our life where we capture the aha moments of insight. But we have to listen to ourselves. Okay, we have to listen to ourselves. And when we listen to our own story, we actually understand what is our why, what is our vision, and it's simply then capturing those thoughts, and then I help them clarify and help them change them from a motherhood statement that makes them feel good to a purpose statement that will bring transformation.
I think that is brilliant. And it is so important to listen to yourself, to listen to your heart, to follow your intuition. And this is why Sunny Arfa did teach me the art of meditation, whereas Johnny Regan taught me how to be a visionary, how to have vision and to listen. And really, I think one of the laws of vision is to listen to all the people in your life that are important. I actually made a piece of paper this week, Natan and John. You're going to love this. You should do this, Natan. This was an amazing exercise.
What do you got?
I wrote down, I'll show it to you. I wrote down a chart of the categories of my life: personal, health, networking, marketing, crypto, all the pillars of Blanca's life, and the key people that helped me achieve success in those pillars. And Natan, you showed up on like 8 of them.
And you don't think I have one of these where you show up on like 8 of them? Silly pumpkin.
Maybe we should make a PDF tool.
It would be too big. It would be like if you put like the 6 biggest companies in the world in the middle, and then all the little companies that they own. It'd just be this monster collage of, logos.
Exactly.
Blanca, what you spoke about and the way that John very eloquently put it, if you're looking for identifying and clarifying what's your most important thing to do, what's your best place to spend your money, where's the most important advertising, where am I going to find my clients, who doesn't resonate with my mess, all of the questions that you want to ask can literally be used through the filter of POP, P-O-P, purity of purpose. If you constantly examine your purity of purpose and take a look and say, is this linked to my highest values? Perfect. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
I love that. In other words, you have to be consistent with be consistent. If tell me if this is what it means to you. I'll give you a perfect example. My purpose, I believe, is to connect people. I believe that is my purpose. I'm born to network. I do it through the networking. I do it through the webcasting. I do it through the marketing, connecting people. But if I do something that's not in line with that purpose, then you think it's not going to be an effective action. Is that what you're saying, Natan?
You need to go considerably deeper than that and examine it. War connects people. Famine connects people. You connect people in a considerably more positive way than just abstractly do.
Okay. Well, then we have to have then I'm. You know what? You're going to have to be the guest on Empowering Entrepreneurs one day. Did
I
that?
thought I was the first.
You were the first one, and then I kidnapped Natan, and I said, "No, you're co-hosting with me. This is too
Oh,
powerful."
it was fun.
So, John, how has Natan impacted your life?
Um, his insight and his generosity to me and to the many of us constantly inspires you to actually achieve.
That
It
is
really
true.
does.
I
It
agree.
really
So,
does.
what have you achieved that he ignited in your soul? Do you have
So
a
I
example?
am actually have on my screen my course that I'll be putting up, which is to empower the business owner to equip them with skills in their role and to motivate them to become a leader of leaders. That's the course I'll be putting up on the Essential Academy. And without Natan, that would just stay in my head.
No, thank you so much, Sean.
So that's the power
Wow.
of what Natan is doing for us, and therefore what we can then do for the world by actually having these kinds of resources available, getting them out of our heads and out of our hearts, getting them onto paper, and delivering them to then the whosoever is really, really cool. So, and then of course the introductions to the many, and that's what I'm having fun doing. So, meeting other of the instructors, spending time with them, listening to their story, and sometimes it's just building that relationship, which is opening my world. Like today, I'm being broadcast all around America, mate. That is sensational.
137 channels in Roku, baby. Woo!
Absolutely. That is just mind-boggling of opportunity that actually comes because of Natan's generosity and the people I'm getting to know and to meet and to share my story with. Because I'm confident about what I've got, I'm confident about what I know, but to actually have a platform where that story can be shared is inspiring, encouraging, motivating. All of those kind of descriptives are very, very motivational. And I'm a fairly motivated person. My coach says to me, "How are you, John?" "Oh, I'm great." He says, "You never say anything else," but I am. I
Feel
life is
that too,
great.
brother. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's what Natan is doing for me and doing for us.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful. And it sounds like he's taught you to develop an asset. You've created
Correct.
a course. And
Yes.
sometimes it takes someone, I mean, after interviewing and producing over 600 interviews and doing the channel, it takes a lot of muscle for someone to
Yes.
produce a season of a show. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yes.
Coach Rochelle Schwartz did Laws of Love for a year and a half, a year on Roku and 6 months on the radio. The passion, the commitment to do a show, it's the same commitment with doing a course. You have to
Yes.
really be, it's actually harder to do a course, in my opinion, because with the shows, I can be more impromptu, speak from the heart of the
Yeah.
mind. But with the course, you have to provide concrete, really fabulous
Oh, I
information.
love you, Blanca. So let me take away some of these self-limiting barriers for you, my dear. If you were on whatever, kajabi.com or wix.com and you were trying to get out there in the world and make a regular .com website, yes, enjoy all the problems that you have. When you join a community, half of it is the most incredibly handpicked private invitation only people. The other half is the platform. We're on the Ferrari of learning management systems. You pay for IBM, you get IBM. So in that capacity, when you say course, that's like me saying, "Hey John, can you give me a little time or a little money?" That means completely different things to me than it means to John.
Wow. All right, so let's define it.
Right?
Let's get down to the nitty gritty. We've
Okay.
got 6 minutes left. Let's talk. Tell me what are the offerings?
Oh my goodness. So if you wanted to say, I want to teach people in a very pedagogic way, very conservative, very traditional, I would like to have some pre-recorded videos, some PDFs. I'd like quizzes, exams, certification at the end. Voila. If you want to be on the opposite side of the spectrum, you'd say, you know what? I'm a coach. I got none for you to download, none for you pre-recorded. There's none of this stuff that you need. You just need to talk to me once a week. For 8 weeks, I'll figure out what's wrong with you, share your screen, I'll jump into your books, I'll fix your company, I'll fix your problem. I could do that live. Okay, but how is that educational? Oh, I'll give you a video assignment. Ooh. And at the end, I'll give you a video exam. Ooh. Nothing to download, nothing to pre-record, but it's still a certified course. Yeah. And that's the spectrum and everything in between, my dear.
You know what? You're absolutely right. You're offering, basically, you're a good listener because you know that people, not only do people learn in different ways, they teach in different ways. So through the academy, you can teach through live teaching, you can teach through recordings, you can teach basically. Now, I've never heard of a video exam. What is that?
So imagine you have a music teacher, and in the wonderful age of COVID, you have your music teacher who's clearly not coming to your house. They're coming to you via Zoom. So they're listening to your Zoom performance. And they tell you, okay, here's your homework for next week. I need you to do da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, practice this and this and this. Go. And this entire session was recorded anyway. So if we ever argue about what level you were at, we can just play back the tape where you played and show me what level you're at. Because next week when you come in and say, Blanca, oh my God, it was amazing. I practiced 3 hours every day. Really? You can tell me what you want to tell me. Show me. And now as a music instructor, I'll know whether you practiced or not.
I love that. So it's almost basically the creation of an asset by the student to prove to the teacher that the student has.
What happens when you get a dissertation and you have to defend your PhD? Same thing. You better stand and deliver.
Whoa. I like that. You know what? We should do a talk show on that. Defend your PhD, man. You just inspired.
Oh, we got a dozen or two that can come and join that conversation.
Well, we come to my favorite question in the entire program, which is, John, what is your number one law of empowering entrepreneurs today?
The willingness to change. If you're not willing to change, you can't grow. And that's what I love about people who come into my world. They're saying, I want to change. I can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. I need to do something different. So that is really powerful, that willingness to change. Because if you're willing to change, you open up amazing possibilities for your life, for your future, for your family. And that's what I love doing each and every day, challenging those that I'm working with to actually embrace change and let it be a joy in their life, not a burden on their shoulders.
That's amazing, John. And what is your why? What motivates you every day to keep working and going and doing?
It is my why is the opportunity to bring opportunity into somebody's world that they never imagined could be possibly theirs.
Wow. Well, John, you're clearly an amazing individual, an instructor and faculty at the Essential Academy, a very active member of the international networking world. I've known you for quite a number of years now, so it's a pleasure and honor to have you on our show. Natan, you've done it again. You've invited another extraordinary entrepreneur. Thank you so much. And shout out to Natan for all he does to support our show. And everyone follow Natan at the Essential Academy. Check out his extraordinary website. Follow John Hardy. Let's run his, follow him on LinkedIn. Check him out at peakconsultancy.com.au. I hope that today's show inspired you. There's been so many laws, but my favorite is the one on the screen, the willingness to change. It starts today. So if you right? Well,
yeah.
Thank you so much, John and Natan. Everybody stay with us every Thursday at 11. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
See you next time. Thank you, Blanca. Thank you, Natan.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Blanca.
You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you've tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings. But now I shine with your reflection. getting back up on my feet.